And then we'll add this other pepper into there. Oops, awesome. And then we can turn the heat back up to like a medium heat now that everything, or at least those have been prepped so far. The last thing that we're going to prepare is the butternut squash. I'm not a pro cook, I'm a home cook. So I don't know the exact way to cut it, I just kind of do my own way. If you want though, you can look up a tutorial on how to prepare butternut squash. But definitely this is the one to be a little bit more careful with because it is a bit trickier. Texas sun. Texas sun. Caressing you from Fort Worth to Amarillo. Well, come on, roll with me to the sun dips low. Texas sun. Texas sun. Oh, girl. Another way that you can avoid all of the craziness of peeling and preparing your own butternut squash is you can also usually find it in the supermarket already cut up. So now that I have now it's nice and peeled and ready to cut, we're gonna cut it into, let's see, 1/2-inch cubes. So if you think about a spoon, maybe like 3 pieces of it should fit on the spoon. So kind of a little bit bigger than the onions and the bell peppers that we've cut, but not too big because we want it to cook at the same time and the same level as the other things that are in the chili. Texas sun. Texas sun. Say you like the wind blowing through your hair. Well, come on, roll with me till the sun goes down. Texas sun. Texas sun. Okay, so I just realized that the pot that I'm using is a little bit small to fit all of the butternut squash. But something that I did want to point out was we've been talking, again, like I said, about seeds in class. And if you look in the inside of a butternut squash, there's kind of a top half that's what I just finished cutting up. But then there's also the bottom half that's a little bit like bigger when you see it. And that's where you're going to find all the seeds. So you can kind of, it's a little gross, but you can kind of look in there. It's just like a pumpkin. So squash and pumpkin are closely related. And you can tell by when you look at seeds like this. And something you can do that's really good is you can roast these in the oven with some like salt and pepper and spices, and it tastes really, really good as a snack. Like I said, I'm going to save the rest of my butternut squash and I will use it for something this week. I might roast it and put it in a salad. I might turn it into a soup. We never know. And I'm gonna put this in the fridge. Now that we have those first 3 vegetables prepped, we're gonna make sure that our heat is on medium again. I turned mine down a little bit just because I was taking a while cutting all my vegetables. But yeah, so make sure that it's on medium heat. You can stir them around. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is cut the garlic. You guys can see it. And like I said, you guys all know about garlic. It's great for your health for a lot of different reasons. It's good for like your digestion, it's good for your immunity, for your immune system, sorry. And it makes so many flavorful foods. So we're gonna add 4 cloves, garlic cloves. Remember, this is a whole head of garlic. We're gonna add 4 cloves and then we're gonna chop them up and add them into the pot. something you might be seeing me do when I'm preparing the garlic is a little bit, you know, you have to be careful with this part, so maybe have a parent or guardian do this part. But what you can do in order to help get the skin off easier is you can take a knife that's kind of flat like this and put the garlic under it and just kind of smack it down, and it helps the little like skin of the garlic come off a lot easier.
You're just doing that to get even. Don't pick up the pieces, just leave it for now. They keep falling apart.
Another option is that you can just buy minced garlic at the store so that you don't have stinky fingers like me for the next few days. Anyways, once we prepared the garlic, we're gonna add that to the pot and we're gonna turn the heat down to like a low medium heat. And then you can just stir it in. It's time to add the spices. So we are going to add adobo, chili powder, cinnamon, and cumin. Like I said in the beginning, you can really add whatever spices you want. These are just the ones that I'm gonna add for mine. And yeah, feel free to get creative at this point and just flavor to taste, which is a phrase that's used a lot in cooking. Just means, you know, taste as you go along, and if you like the taste, then that's great. If you feel like it's missing something, then you can add a little bit more of something else.
Passionate from miles away, passive with the things you say, passing up on my old ways.
Since we're making chili, I figured I would add a good amount of chili powder. The last spice that I'm gonna add is ground cinnamon. So you might be wondering, why are you adding a sweet thing into a dish that's kind of like a salty, savory flavor? The reason is sometimes adding something that's not in that same flavor area helps bring the dish together and helps really like complement the flavors a lot. But I'm only gonna add a little bit. Then just stir it all together. So now that we have that on the stove and it's all cooking and it smells beautiful in our kitchens, we are going to add in a bay leaf. So bay leaf comes from a tree. I actually have one in my room and that's what I picked this off from. But it's really, really great if you kind of rub it like this and smell your fingers. It has a really nice and unique smell. And it's used in a lot of different cooking all around the world. And it's kind of just like a really great way to add flavor to any dish. So I'm gonna drop it in there. And next we're gonna add the black beans and the tomatoes as well. At this point, something you can do to be helping is either you can make sure that the pot is constantly being stirred, or if you want, you can start cleaning up the kitchen. So then, by the end of making this, the kitchen will be clean. Screaming at my face, baby, don't trip. Someone took a big L, don't know how that felt. Looking at you sideways, party on tilt. And we're gonna stir it all up. I do not know if my pot is big enough for this, so. And I'm not trying to lose. Then you're left in the dust. The last thing that we need to do is add our vegetable broth. So I am going to cross my fingers and hope that 2 cups of this is going to fit in my pot that is, I mean, you guys can see it from there, it's super full. So use a bigger pot. I ended up adding a little bit less than 2 cups just because my pot is, this is the situation right now. So in your recipe, you can add all of the 2 cups. And then the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna stir this, and then I'm gonna turn it to maybe like a little less than medium, so maybe like a 4 on a 10 scale. Stir it and then cover it up with the lid, and that's gonna cook for 1 whole hour, okay? For an hour, you're gonna just leave it and stir it maybe every like 10 minutes or so. So you don't have to stand there the whole time and just stir, stir, stir. You can give it some space and let it kind of, the liquid is gonna go down.
You're the sunflower. You're the sunflower.
Step out, get some air now, let your edge out. To some iceberg, you'll be heavy in my mind. Can you get the heck out?
A couple of different things that you can do also while you wait is you can prepare your toppings. So that's what you just saw me do. We have avocado, cilantro, and lime. And then another thing, you could also add like sour cream if you want, or maybe a little bit of cheese on top. That would be really tasty. Another thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some tortilla chips. These ones are blue corn, but you can use whatever kind of tortilla chips, and kind of smash them up a little bit and then be able to sprinkle that on top. And another thing that I mentioned earlier is that we are cooking to taste. So that means that while this is cooking, something that you can do is try a little bit of it and think, does it need more, cumin? Does it need more chili powder? Does it need to be spicier? Does it, whatever it needs, you can add that as it's cooking, and it will just make the flavor a lot better in the end. And once the chili is finally looking like this, where the liquid has gone down a lot, then it's ready to put it all together and enjoy.
I gotta keep the moves in the first of May. Still worried that I wasted the best in me on your babe. You don't care. Said not to be a nuisance, it's just